Every camp has a theme song that requires you sing along. The more we keep on drinking, the better we'll start singing. If you like to drink, wanna learn to fix your sink,
seems like a functional thing.
wanna earn some badges and unite with other badges. Let's make a place that we belong. Sing the campfire hoo-ha song.
We're gonna camp
Hoo-ha, hoo-ha, hoo-ha. Yeah! Gonna camp hoo-ha, hoo-ha, hoo-ha. Yeah! Gonna camp hoo-ha, hoo-ha, hoo-ha. Yeah! Gonna camp hoo-ha, hoo-ha.
Who are you? Are
You want the fun that camp brings,
I do.
but you really fucking hate camping.
I do.
Can make a craft or have a beer.
Craft beer.
You'll learn some useful shit here. That's what I hear anyway. Let's make a place that we belong
And
join the campfire hoo-ha song.
we're gonna camp
Hoo-ha, hoo-ha, hoo-ha. Yeah! Gonna camp hoo-ha, hoo-ha, hoo-ha. Yeah! Gonna camp hoo-ha, me-ha, ha, hoo-ha. Gonna camp hoo-ha, hoo-ha. Hoo-ha, 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 hoo-ha.
That's 2 minutes, you were right. That's funny.
Hello, campers. Welcome to our Camp Hoo-Ha winter driving event. We are super excited to be here. I am camping solo tonight in my own home. I'm turning my own front room into Camp Hoo-Ha headquarters. I've got the team at home. We're doing everything we can to keep everybody safe and help get rid of that damn COVID that's driving us all crazy. So a little different environment for us tonight, but we're still ready to hoo-ha with you guys and get things going. So it feels really good to have you right here. I know everybody is kind of stuck at home, and we've had some news, especially in Alberta. The last night we had a press conference that put some restrictions on us. So I think now more than ever is more important to
I got it going.
Find ways for us to connect and come together in any way we can. So thank you guys for tuning in. Hope you guys have a big glass of wine ready for Carla. She's got some wine notes for you. And I'm going to do a little bit of an intro before we get into
I turned the mute on.
our speakers. So have we got them muted? Yeah. So any newbies, if you guys are newbies out there, are they muted? Okay. Any newbies out there, welcome to Camp Hoo-Ha. I'm giving you guys a warm hoo-ha hug from across the miles. I'm glad you guys found us. If you're wondering what we're all about, we're kind of like Girl Guides for Grown Women. We just tend to have a little booze with our events. We've got badges, we make new friends, we learn new skills, and we are typically meeting face-to-face in person. We've got 12 cities that have camp events, so we are dying to get back to that format, but for now, we're obviously pushing through. In an online space, camp is free. You are welcome to jump in and join us anytime you want. And we sell our badges and our merch in our online store. So like a Girl Guide or a Brownie, you can go and collect your badges and have that amazing badge to show all the skills you've learned. So we're talking about winter driving tonight. And I was trying today to think about, how to talk about driving in this environment. And I love to drive. For me, it's like getting a decent cup of coffee and a playlist, and I just hit the road and I'm just gone, right? And I think for a lot of us, when we turned 16, that driver's license was like a ticket to freedom, right? Like you're out the door. So long, mama hoo-ha. I'm gonna just go and do my own thing, round up my friends, travel where I want to go. And if the door falls off my Dodge Ram pickup truck, then I've got to tie it back up so the freedom train can keep on rolling. So for me, I love driving, and in the last, especially couple days, I've been getting up in the morning, getting my coffee, doing the school drop off, and then I hit Stony Trail and I just drive. I'm doing laps around Stony Trail because I can see mountains, I can see a horizon. I feel like I'm going somewhere. And it's this little sense of freedom when I think a lot of us feel like we don't have that right now. We can't go to a lot of places. So for me, my car and my driver's license and that open road is still a place where I can just go and still feel that sort of openness in a sense. So I was going to talk a little bit about our first cars. Everybody from our team tonight is going to talk about what your first car was. We had a Facebook post last night that I posted, and it was hilarious seeing what you guys drove your first car, whether it was like your parents' car or a car you bought. We have so many memories of those first vehicles. My first vehicle was actually a little quarter-ton Dodge Ram truck. It was white. It was small. It was a piece of shit. But again, it was part of my little freedom package. And I used to bomb around in that thing. We would, be like picking up friends and driving all over the place. And what was it called? Bumper skiing in parking lots, doing all sorts of shit. Anyways, with our kind of shenanigans, that truck didn't last very long. So then I eventually moved on up to a Ford Escort because I thought the Ford Escort was so classy that was my second vehicle. But eventually, like, it became not about the car you had. It was all about like decking shit out, right? Like you wanted to have like a aftermarket cassette deck or CD player. I think I had the cassette deck, and then I had an adapter. Like, it was all about finding ways to make your shit better. And I eventually realized that you really didn't, it wasn't about the car. It was having a boyfriend or girlfriend that worked at Radio Shack. That's really what you needed. You needed a hookup, so you had the best shit in your car to make your piece of crap car as good as humanly possible. So I have really fond memories of my first car, second car, driving around with friends, that sense of freedom and fun, and going through McDonald's drive-thrus and going to bush parties and doing all that stuff. So as much as this event is about us learning to safely and confidently drive winter roads, it's also a chance to get reconnected with those memories we have when we first hit the road, and hopefully kind of realize that, especially when a lot of us are not focused right now, that when we're on the road, we've got to kind of get our shit together and enjoy it, but also be as safe as possible. So I'm going to, and also, like, can you imagine going back and telling your 16-year-old self, when you're 45, you're not going to need all of this stuff. You can just tell your car what song you want to listen to, any song in the world, and it will magically play it for you. Like, your 16-year-old brain would just be blowing up. So crazy how far we've come, but lots of fun stuff to reminisce about. So we have a great event for you guys tonight. We have two of my favorite speakers from Auto Sense for Gals, who did our car mechanics event last October and lit camp on fire. So I'm really excited to have them back. But before we start talking about winter driving, let's talk about wine. We've got your booze counselor, Carla, that has picked some Spanish wines. And she's at home, holed up in her cozy house in Redwood Meadows. And Miss Carla, tell us about some amazing wines that we need to stock up on for the next several weeks, will ya?
Hey, you gotta unmute me. Hi, hope you guys can hear me. Hey, campers. We're back with a little Spanish Tempranillo for me tonight, but I just wanted to, I've only got a few minutes, so I'm gonna quickly go through some Spanish reds for you, and then I'm gonna give you a quick little story about my first car before we get into it. And yeah, that one will give you a good laugh tonight. Absolutely. So Spain, exceptional value. And I'm just in that mood for exceptional value where wines are over delivering right now, especially in this time. And this is a great gateway to the old world. For those of you who are still kind of stuck on your familiar California wines, this is a great way to branch out. So you should at home have with you either a Tempranillo or Garnacha, a Monastrell, a Mencia, or a Bobel. And those will probably be, you know, the ones you'll find most common out there. And we'll just go through them really quickly. So I'm actually drinking a beautiful Tempranillo tonight. Here's my bottle, super pretty. This one's going in my 2-bottle gift pack for Christmas if you want some. This Tempranillo, it's kind of like tortilla. So we don't say Tempranillo or tortilla. So there's your first step to your Spanish tongue. So get into it. You got 2 kinds. Now you're gonna find a young Tempranillo and you're gonna find an aged Tempranillo. And this is something that happens in Spain all the time. If it's young, it's just young. It's just fresh, it's juicy, it's more plum, it's more cherry. And when you get into more aged, you got a couple of years on oak, you got a couple of years in the bottle, but you're also paying a little bit more for that one. But then you're gonna start to notice some more vanilla, maybe some cedar and some dry figs on that one. Start looking for Reserva or Gran Reserva. That's just telling you age, and you'll notice those go up in price. So if you find one you like, you can mix it up and start going up, climb up that ladder and see if you notice some differences. Some of you might have a Garnacha tonight. So what's funny about Garnacha, it's Garnacha if you've had a little too many, if you know what I mean. But this is Grenache, also the same grape when you see Grenache in France. This one's got a lot more red and sangria fruit flavors on it. When you get into an aged one, you're gonna see more plum, licorice, crushed gravel, and some other fun notes that I find. Don't get too hung up on the regions right now. Just let's go for the grape. Let's find the varietals you like. Maybe you have a Monastrell tonight. Now this one's more chocolate and kind of soil and earthy. This is also the same grape as Mourvedre in France. Although it is an original Spanish origin. I don't know, the French need to settle down a little. Should maybe be called Monastrell. But moving on, Mencia. Now this is an interesting one, more pomegranate, more black licoricey ones on this one, kind of compared to a Grand Cru and Burgundy. This one's got higher tannins. You might really like that one, so go for a Mencia. And the last one is the Bobal. That one might be a little harder to find. Let me know if you guys found one of those out there in the market. It's kind of crazy, a bit more cocoa powder and violet kind of floral ones. But that's your little Spanish red lesson, and you should find some value ones out there. Now back to my my first car does not match any of my wines, that's for sure. I was a very, very lucky 16-year-old whose daddy got her a Chevy Sprint. Now this little guy was bought for me because I was a swimmer. So they decided they're no longer driving me to my swim practices anymore. So phew, ticket to ride, I'm on my way. And the stick shift is in the middle, the console. So this little guy's engine sounds like a sewing machine. So whee was kind of how I made my way to swim practice. But the embarrassing thing was when I showed up to school with my little Chevy Sprint, my dad thought it was really cool to put like a water decal on the side. And so I thought it was kind of neat at first because it was like Splash. I'm going to call this guy Splash. But it looked a little bit more like a splooge, if you know what I mean. It wasn't that cool and that pretty. And yeah, I got teased a lot for the splooge. anyways, I'm looking forward to hearing a little bit more about how to drive on the snow because my Chevy Sprint had these tiny little bike tires that were absolute white knuckle treacherous. So super pumped to hear about the ladies tonight, and I hope you guys are enjoying and warming up with this awesome Spanish Reds. And I bet you Janine is warming up her guitar strings for you. So see you soon. Cheers, campers.
Here I am. Oh, okay. I'm on. It's my turn. Hi, everybody. So I've been cooped up. I've been sick for a couple weeks. Haven't been able. I'm coming at you live from my king size bed. I haven't been able to leave my bedroom for 12 days. I think it's been now. My kids have been taking care of me, dropping food at my door, so that's nice. So I've been isolating. So I'm going to sing the isolation song for you. Yeah, we're doing isolation because that's what I've been doing because I was infected. So here we go. Oh, actually, just give me 1 second. Sorry, people. My brain's only working at half capacity because it hasn't been eating or drinking. This is the first time that I'm not drinking at a camp event, by the way. So we'll see how this goes. Okay. Gonna treat myself. Gonna treat myself. Gonna treat myself. Isolation like a stay-at-home vacation. Focusing on relaxation. Make the best of a situation. Gonna treat myself. Gonna treat myself. Too lazy to shower, starting to smell the grease in my hair. Works like gel, but no one's around, so who can tell if I'm unkempt and I look like hell? Gonna treat myself. Gonna treat myself. Gonna treat myself. Isolation like stay-at-home vacation. Copious food and libation have become my medication. Gonna treat myself. Gonna treat myself. Homeschooling kids and I'm not qualified. I think a race for teachers would be justified. We stay up late at night, the screen time is obscene. We've eaten all the carbs and not a single leafy green. Gonna treat myself. Gonna treat myself. Gonna treat myself. Isolation like stay-at-home vacation. Now think of the entire nation under home incarceration. Gonna treat myself. Gonna treat myself. I'm getting prison fit, doing push-ups in my room. I'm drinking with my friends on Google and Zoom. Saving all my mail, it's no longer junk. Run out of toilet paper, gonna use it for my trunk. Gonna treat myself. Gonna treat myself. Gonna treat myself. Isolation like stay-at-home vacation. Practice lots of meditation. By that I mean masturbation. Gonna treat myself. Gonna treat myself. Hope you treat yourself. I didn't think I'd get through that without coughing. I can't breathe. Anyway, I just have to say that since the last time I met Penny and CJ, I have changed my oil multiple times, changed all my filters, did my brakes, and rotated my own tires. So way to go, me. And my story of my very first car, I told this the very first time that we did one of these events with these ladies. My first car was a 1979 Monza Spider. It was baby blue with pink splashes on the side. and I bought it from Farmer Jones in Inglewood, because how do you not trust somebody who spells cars with a Z? Paid $500 for it. And I don't remember how long I had it for, but that thing was pretty sweet. Used to sit up in the upper parking lot of Bishop Grandin and blast Snoop Dogg out the back speakers. So that was my very first car. I now have 2 boys who are learning to drive, and I realize that I've become my mother. Got my own brake in the passenger side of the car, and I gasp a lot. I was going to tell the story about the spiders in my red car, but Mel told me I wasn't allowed to because it gives her nightmares, so I won't. DM me. I'll tell you about it later. It was a real arachnophobia moment. Anyway, okay, so I'll sing you this song now because I don't know how much longer I can stay awake for. It's way past my COVID bedtime. All right. This song is about taking control and realizing what you want when you want it, and it's called Put the Brakes On. But I'm in control. I studied mechanics, now I'm in the know. I power the steering and decide where to go, and whether or not your gasket will blow. I'll grease up your knob, I'll lube up your shaft, your engine will throb while I do my craft and put the brakes on. I'll put the brakes on. I'll put the brakes on. I'll put the brakes on. Screwed by mechanics, but not anymore. Now I'll do the screwing, cause I know the score. Your suspension is stiff, so come on inside. You better prepare for a bumpy ride. I'll give you a rim job, I'll get you jacked up. I'll fiddle your ball joints and jiggle the nuts and put the brakes on. I'll put the brakes on. I'll put the brakes on. I'll put the brakes on. If this is a pickup, I'll climb in your bed, rev up your engine till you're in the red. I'll shift your stick, I'll buff your body, but I'm in control, cause I hold the key. I power the steering, decide where to go, and whether or not your gasket will blow, I put the brakes on. That's it. Thank you. Love tea.
This is really funny. We've got Team Hoo Ha singing songs about quarantining while quarantining and while having the Rona. So thanks, J9, for really giving it your all tonight. And we hope you get better soon. So thank you. Thank you, Carla. Thank you, J9. And sorry about the little blip. I don't know what happened. Like, if I was to whistle and go, Facebook would be like, you don't own that whistle. So Rob used some sort of sound effect like we've done at the beginning of our events, and somebody claims that they own that weird car noise, so they temporarily shut us down. So sorry about that, guys. We're going to have to just have no sounds from now on to avoid all of the Facebook fuckery. So I want to bring on Penny and CJ from Auto Sense for Gals, who, like I said, they lit Camp on Fire in October. And I think when I first announced that we were going to do a car mechanics event, there was a lot of kind of eyebrows raised. I don't know that people were into it. And Penny and CJ were so empowering, such amazing storytellers, and just had such a great approach, and telling their story about why they got into the industry and why they do what they do was amazing. So they were two of my favorite speakers. So I know right now, like I said, driving is one of our only things we're doing. We're driving kids to school still. If your kids are still in school, or you're going to maybe head out to the mountains and go for a hike. So I think now is the time to become a more confident driver and learn some of those things that we maybe have forgotten since our younger days about how to keep ourselves safe on the road. So let's bring up Penny and CJ.
Okay. There, are we good? There she is.
Done.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks, Rob. Thanks, Mel. Thanks for Janine and Carla. They were great intros for what we're going to talk about today, too. So we started AutoSense for Gals because CJ, actually, she lit my fire. Bought a small car for my daughter, needed fixing. She said, come and learn how to do it. I said, all right, did that, and that was it. I wanted to learn how to race then. So that started an entirely different journey for me. So I won't to speak too much more about that right now. I want CJ to talk about herself. Yeah.
You want to tell everybody about your first car, Penny?
Not yet. You go for you.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, when I was younger, 17, I dated a lot of guys, and I didn't make some very good choices, but that was good because in a way it led me to realize what my first love was going to be. Not the guys I dated. Anyway, so I was inspired. I dated a guy that was a heavy duty mechanic, and he was not that interesting, but what he was doing, now that was fascinating. And so we parted ways, and I just went and took mechanics at SAIT and got my license and got right into it. And it's been quite an adventure. So we're gonna kind of guide you through a little bit of what we do with dealing with winter and what we do to cars, and also what we how we prepare, and also how we deal with getting on the ice, getting out there, being on snow, being in tricky situations. But I'm not sure, am I supposed to talk about my first car now?
Can we show the next slide?
Yeah.
There she is.
There she is. That's my baby. That was my baby. It's 1971 Volkswagen Super Beetle. I loved this car. And how that started was my dad had a little 1969 Standard Beetle. Now the difference is the size of the nose. So the Super Beetle has a much longer nose, which is actually the trunk. My dad had a shortened version called Standard Beetle. And I borrowed his car, and I'm driving down the highway through Radium Hot Springs, and it could have been the same situation as being on ice. But I was actually hydroplaning, which is on water. So it had been raining, and I drove down the highway, and I had to come around a bend a little bit, and I just touched the brakes to slow down for the bend, and I kept going straight, and I went over a 1,000-foot cliff. Fortunately for me, there was a little baby ledge just before the full drop off, and I smacked into that and punched in her beautiful little nose, and it became a Standard Beetle. So it was just a lesson on how to drive, how not to drive. So that was my first experience at 17 years old, and pretty scary. So it can be just as scary on ice and snow unless you know some of the tricks that we're gonna hopefully empower you with tonight.
Perfect. Next slide, Rob, please. So I have always wanted to drive. I'm not a navigator. I'm not a really good mechanic, but get me behind a steering wheel and I am in my heaven. Probably a little like Mel. I'll go anywhere at any time, just get me behind a wheel. And my first intro was a little boat in Hastings, Sussex, England. And you can see the smile on my face as I've got that steering wheel in my hand. So the next, but my real car that I really fell in love with is the next slide, is my rally car. And this is where CJ and I started a different type of relationship. She became my mechanic on my rally team. And you can see her actually in the bottom left slide there. She's, I don't know, we probably bent an axle. God knows what we did at that particular time. But we used to come in for service on snow. We had about 10 minutes and I had to get myself groomed and sorted out before I got back in the car, and she used to do all the mechanical work for me. But at the same time, she taught me a lot. And so I've always enjoyed driving. So my next event is going to be showing you some ice driving. Can we go on to the next one? I think that's the next one. Okay, we'll just keep going. Okay, so we know, both CJ and I, because we've done a whole variety of driving, she's driven trucks, all sorts of things, that the idea of driving can literally scare you. It can get to the point where you have white knuckles as you're holding the steering wheel and you're terrified. And I've heard people who have coming down the Cochrane Hill saying, you know, I just don't even want to come down into Cochrane because I'm terrified of coming down the ice. And I said, it's manageable if you learn how to do it, and it can actually work for you. The ice can actually be your best friend if you know how to make it work for you. So in thinking about your best experience and your worst, think about that as we're doing some of the teaching that we're going to do tonight, because it will help you learn to do things right, and then maybe it'll highlight some of the things that you may have done wrong. Okay, next one. Okay, can we start this video, or is that possible? All right. This is a video that I did at Ghost Lake. I used to teach ice driving out there. And I actually just had somebody do this. Is it going to show or not?
I
No?
don't have, no, I don't have the video.
Oh, okay. Oh dear, that's too bad. Because there's some people out there who go out there and they clear a track. And so you can take your car out there, usually have to wait till January, February before the ice is thick enough, and you can just practice. And that's what this was about. So I apologize. I was hoping that the video would have shown that. So we can move on. So I'm going to move over to CJ because our number one goal is, of course, traction. Go ahead, CJ.
Okay, so what is it? Well, it's an elephant.
Oh,
He's having a little trouble with traction. And on those big slippery feet, that's kind of what her tires are going to do for her that day. Without good tread, she's going to keep slipping down that slope. So why is it important? Well, we got to stay safe on the road, right? How do we lose traction? Well, you know, it's a combination of things, really. It's of course, you, the driver, and it is what you're driving, standard automatic. It's a lot to do with your tires and knowing and recognizing the difference between different tires and what's a good tire for different seasons of the year. So we can lose traction by skidding. We can lose traction by simply our tires, like Mr. Elephant. They're just so smooth that it just, like I said, remember when I was saying a hydroplane? So you got a bowl of water and you just, or a street of water, and you just slide. But if you've got a good grip tire, you're gonna grab on and you're gonna have a lot better opportunity to stop on water, ice, snow, if that traction is good on the car. So how do we use traction to our advantage? Well, again, it's going to be a difference of what kind of car you drive. I love standards. So when I drive a standard, I'm gearing and I'm the gear master. And then when you're driving an automatic, the automatic is the gear master. It will pick the gears. So an automatic is awesome in the fact that as you slow down, or with your ABS, you slow down, the gears will just go down or go up as necessary according to the RPM of the car, which is that little dial that you see on the dash showing you RPM. With a standard, I can choose what I'm going to do. So let's say, for example, I'm driving
we
on
could probably
ice.
go to the next slide there. Sorry,
Yeah.
Rob. Yeah.
Right? So tires are how we feel and connect with the road, and tires affect my steering, braking, and overall safety. This is the big one. This is the big one, is choosing these tires. And being able to know how to steer into a slide, knowing how to brake. Like, yes, you all have ABS probably, unless you have a really old car, and that stutters the brakes. It pulses the brakes. So there's a computer in there that will go like this, and so you're braking like this down the road. But ABS is not the only thing you should count on. If you feel you're really skidding badly and the ABS is just terrifying you, then you're going to steer into the actual skid. So if your back end is going like this, you don't steer this way. It'll just shake you up. You actually steer into the skid so that the car straightens itself up and the tires will grab and go straight. Now, unless you're in my predicament of when I was on the side of Radium Hot Springs Hill, you are not going to steer into that skid because you would have gone 1,000 meters down. So I had to literally try to fall into this little pocket on the side of the road, which I managed to do just by kind of steering into it. It's a good to take lessons when you're not absolutely sure about that. Now, tires being the first contact point with the road, you're going to see here on the left, that's actually, we've divided the tire in half. Penny's got winter tire on the right, and she's got all season on the left. The all season, as you can see, has one sort of tunnel down the middle, and then a very gentle little tunnels going down like zebra stripes. On the right side is a more aggressive sort of grab tread. So tread meaning up and down the little hills, the top part and then the bottom part. The top part is your tread, and then the bottom part is your valley. That might grab snow, and if you look at how you're going, the snow goes into the tire and then it gets kind of thrown off to the right. So it gets pulled in and then thrown out. Whereas with the one on the left, you're seeing the snow's kind of going into the valley and it's kind of hanging out and staying there. So you're actually skidding on your own snowbank on the tire. And if you've ever looked at tires after you've driven on some snow, you'll see they actually look like there's a lot of snow all around the tire. But the winter ones, as you're driving, will actually throw the snow, and mud and snow tires will throw water out. Whereas the all seasons can be very good, especially if you have an SUV. 4 brand new all seasons or a year or two old can be awesome because the car is designated for that. So it can, with traction control, with sensors in each wheel, it works with the anti-brake lock system and the traction control work together. And when they see one wheel that doesn't have power or it's not turning, the car will go, hey, problem, and it will actually apply power to that wheel. So it helps you inside of the driving ability.
CJ, one question, where would all-weather tires land in this scenario too?
Awesome question. They're kind of in the middle. So you kind of got something that, yeah, it'll work for all seasons. They're a softer tire, so they're not going to last as long, which is okay because then you've got kind of half the price of buying all season and then buying winter, right? And then 2 sets of rims and then having your mechanic put them on and off twice a year. So the all-weather has been proving to work really well, but they're a little combination of both. They're a bit of a softer tire. They're not as aggressive as a full winter, but they're also a lot better than just having a standard all season.
Next slide, please.
So if you look on the left here, that is a brand new winter tire. I kind of got them sideways. So they're sitting on top of each other, but that's a brand new Toyo all winter. I'm not promoting anybody over another. Some are a softer, better ride, more comfortable. Some are a more aggressive ride, grab the road and hang on. On the right-hand side, you're going to see that winter tire, but if you see the little pinpoints, kind of shiny bits, this is actually a studded tire. Now, one of the misconceptions is you buy a studded tire and you don't stud them. And then a year later you go, I'm going to get them studded. Well, it's too late. You stud them the day you buy them before they go on the road. So studdable tires are only studded at time of purchase. And this is a stud tire. It will literally grab the road and pull you because it's like fingernails on the road. So that's a very aggressive tire, especially good in the north, especially good on if we get a particularly bad year for rain freeze. These guys are great.
Next slide. Yeah.
So you're going to go look at your tires, no doubt, because you're so empowered and you're so excited and you're just going to race out to your car and look at your tires tonight with your flashlight, right? So this is how we're going to teach you how to read a tire. So poor alignment, what does that mean? You're driving down the road and your car is totally wanting to pull to the right or pull to the left without your help. And you go, okay, what's this? Well, it's a poor alignment. And how you can truly tell if it's not just you're sitting in the right side of the road and the crown is pulling you over. But if you look in that first picture on the left, you'll see on the left-hand side of the tire, it's kind of bald and the rest of the tire looks okay. So either that side or the other side is going to look balding. And that's an alignment. So literally your tires are running like this down the road. But if I overemphasize, let's say they're towed in, right? So they're just towed in. So where are they going to rub? Here's your tire, but it's going to rub on this inside piece, right? Or it's towed out. And so now it's going to rub on the inside. So you'll either be on the left or right of the tire will be balding or shaving down. Sometimes you will see metal threads. That tire's done. The one in the middle is underinflation. So the tire lets the mirror out and you can see the edges are getting most of the wear. So that's underinflated. On the right side, you've got overinflated. So, and you're literally wearing the inside of the tire off because you've overinflated it. Now, why would you be overinflated? Well, here's the problem. Most people read the sidewall of the tire and it might say maximum pressure 50 pounds. So people happily put in 50 pounds and off they go. Well, you've actually overinflated the tire. The true place to read the tire pressure for that car and those tires is inside the door of your car. So you open the driver's door and you look down the frame of the car and you'll see some stickers there. And it will say front and rear tires, tire pressure. And it might say 32 or 36 or 35. And the rear might say 29 or 30 or 32. So you have a front and rear pressures. So the nice thing to own is a tire pressure gauge, which you can get many, many places, car parts places, Canadian Tire. Maybe Mel can have a special line with some wine. And you go around and you can do that yourself at a co-op store, at an AMA. There's lots of places, even some gas stations. And put your tire to where it's supposed to be and keep it there and keep your eyes on it.
Can I just interrupt for a moment? Can we just go back for that? Yeah. When you go to buy winter tires at the store, the good thing to do is look at the tires that have just come off your car, because that's an opportunity to see whether in fact they were, whether you have an alignment problem with them, you've got underinflated or overinflated, because the worst thing you could do is do it again. And in other words, if you have a poor alignment off your tires that you've had on the car, you put on winter tires, you're just going to do the same thing over again. You're going to have wearing on one side. So it's a perfect opportunity to see the tire and see how you've been wearing them or how they've worn during your driving.
Two other questions, CJ, that we can maybe tackle. Did you talk about studded tires?
I did, yes.
Okay. And then the other question was, is the best time to have a wheel alignment in the spring?
The best time to have a wheel alignment is when the car is pulling to the left or to the right. Typically what will happen is somebody in the winter will be driving down and they'll turn and they'll slide into the turn, or they'll slide into the embankment, or they'll slide into a curb, and the tire will hit the curb and it actually bends the alignment a bit. So after you hit something hard or skidded or gone into a bad pothole situation where you've really jousted the car, if it pulls after that, you can pretty much say that you're due for an alignment. So it can be any time of the year.
Yeah.
So is it okay to mix and match winter tires with all season tires? No, not really. You can on certain cars, like front wheel drives. People have gotten away with putting winter tires on the front and having their all seasons on the back, and they have got away with it. But if you're ever into a skid, or you see people do a 180 on the highway, well, if they've got all seasons on the back, it's more like a skating rink. So it's going to just swing and then maybe really turn you around. Whereas if you've got nice solid aggressive winter tires on all four wheels, then you're not going to skid or get out of control as quickly as you could with something smoother on the back of the car. So I would say, no, just get all four winter tires. On an SUV, it's important on the four-wheel drives and the bigger SUVs to have matching tires. Don't get two new ones on the front. You have some really old things on the back, especially not with the 4x4 trucks. The transmission is programmed with the computer to say, these tires are different than these tires, and it can confuse the car, and then your traction control can be thrown out. You can stop just as easily with all seasons as winter tires. In the summer, yeah. Yeah. Not so in the winter. Again, unless you're into a really nice SUV that like a Honda CR-V are pretty awesome on all seasons, all year round, because they have a wider wheelbase. So it can grab the road a little more instead of a narrower car. I think the Toyota RAV4 is not bad that way either. But in the winter on ice, on snow, it's not going to be as good as an aggressive winter tire. You don't have that grab that's grabbing on and giving you that friction on the road that you want. Okay, all cars come with a spare tire. They used to, not anymore. I had a lady with a 2010 Kia Soul come in for an oil change and put her winter tires on. There's no spare. There's nothing. There's a tube of goo that if you get a flat, you put goo in the tire and it fills it up and you get to the station, but it fills the inside of the tire with goo. Really hard to take it off, change it, work with it. You pretty much check the tire sometimes. So she actually had me take one of her old all seasons that we're chucking, put it on one of her spare rims from her summer set, and we're using that for her winter spare tire. Of course, she had to buy a jack and she had to buy a wheel lug to get the nuts off the car too. New cars come with the goo. So the correct, not all of them, sorry. The correct tire pressure is written on the tire. Well, we just talked about that. You know better than that now, gals. You know to go to the inside of the door, driver's door. Rotating your tires once a year is fine. It's fine if you do 10,000 kilometers a year. That's great. If you do 20 or 30, then you want to rotate your tires every 10,000 kilometers. And you want to, on an SUV, that's an absolute imperative must. If you forget on a front wheel drive, well, you're going to waste off two tires. The fronts go like this all day long. They're doing this. So they're getting more friction and more wear than the backs are. If there is still tread, the tires are okay to drive. No. So if I have this much tread and I can grab the road, or if I have this much tread, I'm going to slide around a lot. So you tell me which one of these is better than the other. So I would say no. If there's still tread, if there's like 3 millimeters or less, let them go.
Okay, let's go. Next slide, please.
How do you feel traction on ice?
All right, I'll give you a break here.
Yeah, okay.
Well, in my rally days, I certainly learned this one really quickly. We automatically, it's instinctual that as soon as we feel that we're sliding away, we go and we apply the brakes, often as hard as we possibly can, thinking that that's going to stop the car. What we lose when we hit the brake is the ability to steer. We no longer are really in control of the car. The car will do whatever it's going to do no matter what. And it's unlikely we'll really stop the car. Unfortunately, it just doesn't do it. Your best friend, the next one, please. Your best friend on ice and to some extent with snow as well is your accelerator. And that seems counterintuitive because we often think, well, I don't want to be going fast. No, we don't want to be going fast. But what we do need to do is feel the tires connecting with the road with our accelerator. And a light touch on the accelerator, even in the lowest gears, it gives you the traction you're looking for. So number one is keep your foot on the accelerator lightly if possible. Do avoid using the brakes unless you absolutely have no other choice. So, but in all honesty, you lose control of steering when you go to brake like that. Next one. So the second most important goal is to actually have control of the speed and the direction of the car. And again, by using our accelerating, we can go to the next one. Yeah. The less steering we actually do on ice, the more control we have. So when I'm teaching ice driving, we actually get to a point where we go from women with, or people, doesn't matter, who have white knuckles. They literally are grabbing that steering wheel in terror. And they get to the end of the day and they're using 2 fingers. And they're able to just gently move the steering wheel in the direction that they want to go, but nothing is hard. Nothing is taken to the extreme. It's all very, very light, gentle movements with the steering wheel. The rest is all about controlling the speed of the car and your acceleration with your pedals. If I need to stop, I choose snow. I don't know how many times I've seen people who come up to a light and they're stopping in exactly the same place that the cars ahead of them have stopped, and it's all on ice. And they go to take off and it's exactly the same. They're all spinning away and they're sliding. I move right over to the left or as far as I can, and I choose snow. I know I'm going to be able to move off. It's easy. Choose snow over ice to stop or start. And if you get to a place where you say, all I can see is ice, look for snow. Aim for snow. That's your best chance of being able to have some control on the car again.
Yeah.
Plan your drive. So when I go into a corner and I want to control everything, I go in at a lower speed and I gently accelerate through the corner. Once again, I've seen many, many people go, oh, well, I'll go in at this speed, normal speed, get halfway through the corner, hit the brakes, back end slides out, and they've lost control. No good. Go into the corner at a lower speed than you want to go in and slowly accelerate through, and you will be fine. Doesn't matter whether it's a front wheel drive, rear wheel drive, anything. They will always respond better by doing that. So better to lighten your foot on the accelerator than brake to slow the car down. Again, many, many times I see people sort of tap dancing on the brake. No need. Just lighten your foot on the accelerator. Your car will slow down as much as you need by just lightening off the accelerator. That way you're also not causing the car to go, well, what you want me to do now? You don't want it to brake, you want it just to slow down. So much better to lighten your foot. It also takes some wear off the brake pads. So on a manual car, as CJ was saying, you obviously have lots of control over the gears. So you can gear down or you can gear up as you need. One thing CJ taught me, which I didn't know before, but I think is really good to know, is your reverse gear actually has the greatest torque. So if you want to get out of a tight spot on your ice or wherever you're stuck, try reverse. That's where you're going to get your best torque, which is the ability to get those tires to grip and move. We'll go to the automatic, next one. Most people have Tiptronic gear transmissions as well with the transmission. And you can actually lower the gears out of drive. It is possible to do that once you've brought your speed down. So once again, if I'm on the top of the hill coming down into Cochrane, if I'm driving an automatic, I'll put it into 4th or 3rd if my speed is appropriate for that gear. But I'd rather leave the engine to keep the engine, the revs down than me constantly using the brake or any other way I can do it. So this is a fabulous way to control the speed on your car. All right, I'm going to leave the next one to CJ.
So touching on what Penny's talking about there, remember she said earlier about how frightened and white-knuckled some people are going down the Cochrane Hill. Well, Penny lives in Cochrane, and I came to Cochrane tonight to be here together for our presentation. And there's the hill, but I'm driving a standard tonight. And so I put it into fourth, from fifth down to fourth. And I went down the hill for most of it about 70, 74, because I knew I'd pick up speed. And then I only had to touch the brakes here and there lightly, which saves the brakes. The automatic Penny was showing you has the D3, 2, 1. Well, the D3 is probably enough, but don't forget you have to slow down to about 70 to go into the D3, or you'll overtax the transmission. Don't slam it D3 at 100 kilometers an hour. Get your speed down, go into the D3, watch your RPM, your revs, make sure they're not going past sort of 3,000, okay? There's another automatic that actually has a standard feel to it. So it's an automatic that you'll see has a second column, and the stick can go into it and you can gear down or up with the automatic transmission, and you're picking the speed, you're picking the gear. So let's say the same thing, you go into, and I've come to her house with Subaru, and I've put it from full 100, I slow it down to 70, I pull it over and I bring it down one gear. And then I just take the hill beautifully all the way down. So that would be even slower in winter and ice conditions. So that's me coming on a nice night like tonight. But in winter or ice, you're going to take that hill at about 50 so that you're not sliding into somebody else, okay? Front wheel drives. So the front wheels are the drive. They're the only things that the engine and transmission are actually turning. So they're pulling you around. And so the front tires are being the aggressive tires. The back tires are just followers. Now, some of you might own a Mustang or a rear wheel drive truck, and the rear tires are doing the work. So the transmission and the engine have a nice big shaft that goes down to the back of the car, and it turns another component which turns the wheel. So that's a rear wheel drive. So now you can imagine your strength is in the rear and your front could flop around a little bit. So you're going to gear down according to the rear wheels being the ones that are going to be slowing you down. Front wheel drive, all tires have traction. Is that a question, Penny?
No, it's when you put it into four wheel. You've got all tires doing the driving.
Sorry, my glasses are not on.
Okay, no problem.
That would say four wheel drive, not front. So all tires have traction, yes. So remember I was telling you that there's a sensor built into each wheel, and the computer knows what each wheel is doing. And if one wheel starts to spin, then the computer will, whoa, wait a second, or it's not spinning as fast as the others. It will kick in what it wants that wheel to do. So four-wheel drives are all working at the same time. Fabulous. If you've got, say, a Chevy Sierra truck and you're stuck in a snowbank, you just slide her into four-wheel drive and she'll just pull you out with any wheel that it takes to pull you out of there. And they're fantastic. You'd have to almost be centered over some sort of embankment to not get the wheels to work and pull you out. The all-wheel drive can do that too. Often the front tires do most of the work, and then the sensors will engage the rear wheels as necessary. So again, that sensor thing, I'm not getting anywhere. These tires are spinning faster than those tires, so I better engage these. So the all-wheel drive does the work of a four-wheel at its discretion.
Good. Perfect. Next one.
Yeah. Okay, Penny. We've had
I have so many people that I know that go, there's nothing wrong with my windshield. You know, I got up this rock and I don't want to get a new windshield, but you know what? You don't see well, and it gets worse in winter. It gets worse when there's snow. So
and the glare is on the snow against those fragments.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
So windshields need to be replaced. I know that we live in a place where we do get gravel thrown up and we do lose our windshields occasionally. But honestly, when you're in a blizzard, the last thing you want to be is trying to see through this.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
next one.
Good windshield and a good wiper fluid.
Yeah,
Yep.
the wipers. Oh, I didn't do that very well with the print.
That's
So windshield wipers certainly break. we check ours every season, spring and summer and winter. If they're not working properly, you can't get that windshield to clear properly. And again, you're in trouble. So be
Penny's
careful.
of the windshield wiper here. If you don't understand the picture, the finger is pushing the rubber part of the wiper down, which means it's separating. Okay, you want your wiper to be a clear, solid piece of rubber going up and down the window. So if that's flapping around, it's not working.
Right. Next one. So of course, we do have summer windshield washer fluid, and we also have winter ones. We obviously need winter ones because when the temperatures drop and the car is left out in the cold for long periods of time, what happens is the fluid expands and you get ice and it breaks. It'll break the canister itself. So sometimes people say, you know what, I'm just going to use winter all year. I'm not going to bother changing it. Other people like to have the summer in because it has some components for clearing the bugs off their windshield. But at the end of summer, fall, it's time to empty out that canister of the windshield washer fluid and put in the minus 35 to 45. It makes a huge difference.
Yeah, and people
Okay.
say, Penny, how do you get that wiper fluid out of there, right? Just spray it out.
Yep, no problem. Okay, CJ.
So your checklist, any season of the year, you probably all have seen what a battery looks like. And so what you're looking for on batteries is you're looking for the age of the battery. They're mathematically made, the mean is to last 5 to 7 years. So if you have a 6 or 7 year old battery, the chances are you're on a limited lifetime. If you're a preventive maintenance person, then you might decide to just change the battery. When you see the battery, there's 2 posts that stick up, and there's a positive and a negative terminal. You want to look visually on the post to see that they're nice, clean metal against the nice, clean lead post. If there's corrosion around there, you might have trouble starting, especially as expansion and contraction takes place in the winter. So you're going to clean up the posts and or replace the battery. The headlights are so important. People are talking about the new LED headlights, but I don't like that so much because they don't produce any heat. So let's say you have a blinding snowstorm and you're already struggling with the driving, and now the snow and the water is freezing onto the headlights and it's not going away. You don't even have the heat to dissipate that ice. So you're getting out somewhere on the side of the road to scrape your headlights. So make sure your headlights are working, as well as your brake lights and your marker lights and your indicator lights and your license plate light. Those are all ticketable items. So you want to make sure they're good. You also want to be safe. You want people to see you. So brakes, we've talked about how to use and apply brakes, but when the brakes are down to a usable 20% left, and your mechanic has told you that, 15 to 20% is where I highly suggest you just replace them and be safe. You want the best braking capacity that you can get. Coolant, that's what keeps your engine cool and from overheating. It's not the coolant for your windshield washer, it's coolant for the motor. And it's also required to run through the inside of your car through special compartments that dissipate heat. So if your cabin filter, and we might have a picture of that, but if your cabin filter is filthy, do we, Penny?
I don't think so, not on this one.
Okay.
No.
So inside your car, in your engine, you have an air filter. You've probably all heard of that. But inside your car, you have another one called a cabin filter. If that thing is packed, and it's about this big, and it's about that thick, if it's packed with soot and dirt and bugs and leaves, there's no airflow from all this coolant heat coming into your car and keeping your windshield nice and clear. So the cabin filter is very important, especially just before winter. I replace most of my customers' car cabin filters in September with their oil change. So getting the car prepped and ready. Tire wear, we've gone over. I think you're fairly knowledgeable on that now. And of course, as you saw from our wipers and our washer fluid, the washer fluid, spray all that bug spray and summer spray out. Penny has indicated to you that it will freeze and crack the canister. That's a $300 fix. So spray it all out, put in your minus. I use minus 45 just to be on the safe side. And the wipers should have a nice, clear, true vision after you've used them. If they get streaks or they're not very good, you're going to hate yourself come a snowstorm because you're going to wish you had replaced them. Always replace them with a new windshield. Best time to put them on. If you replace the windshield, treat yourself to some new wiper blades.
We've got a couple more minutes, so I'm going to let you guys work through the last slide, and then we'll take a few questions at the end. But yeah, we're moving quickly. So you guys talk about your stuff.
Okay, so we have been offering workshops now for several years. And obviously with the COVID situation the way it is now, we realize that that's coming to, we can't do them the way we used to. So what we're going to do now is develop a whole collection, a huge collection of videos. And it's going to be in the language that ladies can understand. It's not going to be a lot of jargon that nobody understands. It's going to be talking to you as somebody who may never have picked up a screwdriver, may never know what a wrench is, etc. How do you even open your hood? What do I do? How do I do it? What does a battery look like? Why do I have it, etc. So we're going to put together a whole collection. We're going to launch this on February the 1st of 2021. And what we're also looking for is an opportunity for women to come in involved to help us know more about some of the issues that they've come across in buying, selling, servicing, whatever, their vehicles. We know there's lots of successful women who have been in the industry. We want to get to know them. We want them to profile them as well. So this is coming up. We invite you to be a part of it. We will start working on that and have it available for you to go see on our Facebook page fairly shortly. So yeah, that's the new direction we're going in.
Awesome, Rob. Can you spotlight me and drop off my screen sharing? Okay.
Thank you.
And then bring me and CJ and Penny up. I'm going to do a quick wrap up, and then I can quickly take some more questions if we've got it. You've got me spotlit. We're good. I'm on. Hey, well, I just want to thank campers for hanging out. I know shit goes wrong sometimes. We're not sure what happened and why it happened, but if we disappear for a few minutes, hang tight. We're always going to come back because we've got Rob in our hoo-ha sorting that shit out. So thank you, Rob, for
yes, thank you.
For tech stuff. You, CJ and Penny, we had you guys in October. I've been fielding messages from campers who are like, these two are brilliant. They want to just soak up all of the knowledge from you guys and inspiration and empowering messaging that you guys have to share. I know we don't love this format, but you guys were great tonight. And
you helped us enormously.
Well, no, this was a great start, and we're going to do lots of stuff with you guys. Campers, we have open registration for our last 2020. We just want to kick 2020 in the ass. So we've got our last 2020 event on December 10th with Julie Von Rosendahl from Dinner with Julie. We're going to do a retro holiday event. We're going to cook some old school holiday appetizers, desserts. We're going to glitter ourselves up, wear some sequins. So you can sign up on the website now. The badge is available. So that is coming up for our last 2020 event. You can buy merch. We've got some holiday bundles available, some hoodies. We've got our friendship badge. We've got holiday mugs. So make sure you go online and buy something. And thank you, J9. Thank you, Carla. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, AutoSense for Gals. So I'm going to pass it over and see if we've got some questions. You guys want to take some questions?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, awesome. Okay. So one of the questions was, how often do you change transmission fluid?
CJ?
So transmission fluid is different for different cars, but two things. First of all, you have a manual in your glove box. And if you read the manual, it will tell you when to change all your different fluids. I find sometimes they might give more longevity to the fluid changing that maybe Penny and I would choose to tighten that up a little bit. So for transmissions, I do my very first one on a new car at 90,000 kilometers is kind of my happy place. If it's a Hyundai, they might say every 60,000. So please read your manual.
What's the best way to clean corrosion off of posts? I don't even know what that means.
I will send you a picture.
I will send you a picture. So typically it's typically the positive post builds it up the most, but they can both build it up, and batteries are made of acid inside, and the acid can seep up or seep over the battery, and it builds up a corrosion on the post. So there's the two posts, and then there's cables that grab onto the post that feed the car electricity. And these posts can get very corroded, which means the battery electricity is not coming through to the post. So we take the posts off, we clean the post, we clean the cable, but sometimes there's still a lot of this green, ugly corrosion. So what I choose to do is I take baking soda. Now the battery's out. I take the cable and I put it into a plastic cup that's being filled with about 5 tablespoons or 4 tablespoons of baking soda. I mix it with water, super saturated. I put the cable in and it literally eats the acid off. Acid is acid and baking soda is a base chemical reaction. Clean it all up, clean that baking soda off, put it back on.
How do you feel about Haynes manuals in the age of YouTube?
I love the old paperbacks. I've got tons of actual paper stuff, which, you know, I've been doing it so long, I don't have to refer to it too often. Google's nice and fast. The problem is you've got guys who really don't know what they're talking about and they're misguiding you. And then you've got guys who are brilliant. And then you have some guys in the middle. So that's what Penny was deferring to, is that we've got AutoSense for Gals videos that's going to actually show you how to. And so we're going to show you how to do it correctly. They can be really great videos on YouTube, but the manual will be correct every time.
Winter tires in summer. I know the rubber is softer, but I'm in Vancouver and always debate getting them in the winter to go over the Coca-Cola.
Okay, BC, Penny, you might know this too. BC has a law that you have to have at least a mud and snow tire in British Columbia in the winter. You can actually get a ticket. Going over the Coca-Cola is extremely dangerous, extremely thick with snow, icy spots. You want a nice aggressive winter tire going over the Coca-Cola. Don't mess with that. Penny,
yeah, I would concur. You definitely want winter tires. Now, would I wear winter tires in Vancouver in the summer? I would be cautious about doing that because you're just wearing them out. And honestly, the best winter tire is the one that's got the most grip, the most tread. So the longer you can hold on to that big tread, the better it's going to be for you. So I have owned Subarus, all-wheel drive vehicles, and I have done the all-weather ones, and they have been good. The Nokia ones are fairly decent tire. If I was in Vancouver, that's where I would probably end up going, is something like an all-weather one. But as CJ's saying, if you're going to go on the highway, you're going to want some good winter tires.
Hey, question for you two. Last question.
Okay.
What's your playlist? You're on the open road. You've got nobody in the car, and you can crank it up. What is playing on what's your playlist? I need to hear this.
Yeah, but nobody will recognize my playlist. Larry Norman, rock and roll. Larry Norman, Christian rock and roll star. Like, the guy's awesome.
There's been many times that I've ended up listening to Christian rock for a whole day and enjoyed it, not knowing what I was listening to.
Yeah.
Rock on, CJ. Penny?
I'm into Lobo and Josh Groban. I love the opera. I love bagpipes. I love the big music and the deep voices. Oh, man, I get that. Yeah.
No kidding. Yeah.
We love you guys. You guys are so brilliant at what you do. And
Thank
you've
you.
got all of the interesting stuff that campers like. We're all just kind of interesting women that have stories to tell. So thank you for being here. I'm
Thank
hoping
you.
the next time we get to be together is at your shop or at an
Yeah.
in-person event. So yeah,
Next time.
next time. So Auto Sense for Gals, thank you. Thank you, campers. Have a good night. Stay safe. Stay happy, stay positive, embrace the pace of this season. This is our chance to be as slow or as crazy as we want to, and as much as it's hard.
Yeah.
This is the year to just to chill out and embrace what sometimes we've wished for in the past, and can be a gift or can be, can just don't let it break you. Bye, campers. We'll see you at the retro
Thank you.
holiday event in a few weeks, and take care.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Melanie.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Stay safe.
Take care.
Wear your favorite car mask.
We're gonna get some auto sense.
Every camp has a theme song that requires you sing along. The more we keep on drinking, the better we'll start singing. If you like to drink, learn to fix your sink.
Seems like a functional thing.
Wanna earn some badges and unite with other badges. Let's make a place that we belong and sing the campfire hoo-ha song.
We're going to camp.
Hoo-ha, 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 yeah! Going to camp, hoo-ha, 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 yeah! Going to camp, hoo-ha, 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 yeah! Going to camp, hoo-ha, hoo-ha.
Who are you? Are?
You want the fun that camp brings,
I do.
but you really fucking hate camping.
I do.
Can make a craft or have a beer.
Craft beer.
You'll learn some useful shit here. That's what I hear anyway. Let's make a place that we belong
And
join the campfire hoo-ha song.
we're going to camp.
Hoo-ha, 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 yeah! Going to camp, hoo-ha, 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 yeah! Going to camp, hoo-ha, me, ha, what, hoo-ha! Going to camp, hoo-ha, 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 hoo-ha.
That's 2 minutes. You were right. That's funny.